Hello friends. Today I'm going to show you more about WaSQL. Last time, or in a previous video, we talked about installing WaSQL and configuring your local host so it would show the website. And today we're going to talk about the admin panel. And so to get to the admin panel, we will go to localhost and then have a /A for the admin panel. And this is what it looks like. It's simple. It's just one bar across the top. Few things to point out here that I'll just cover briefly. Here under Help, you can find documentation. These are pretty much just Java docs. They are auto documentation that are basically codes within the comments. So these are the different files that exist, and within each one you can see the different functions there. And so it's very rudimentary, but the documentation's there, and you can get some help. Shows you parameters that are expected and what's returned and how to use it. I will be adding more documentation about from the front end how to call these functions. So there's a lot more here in this help menu, and you can explore those. I'm going to spend most of the time today on the tabs over here. That we mentioned that WaSQL is all stored in a database. Well, most of it's stored in the database. Images aren't in the database. CSS files don't have to be in the database, and we can include anything. But mostly pages and everything is stored inside the database. Makes it very fast because we only establish the database connection once, and it's returning the information that's needed for all of the content. So it's in a database. There's some functions here that we can use to manage databases. Tables, we can add new tables to the database that we're going to use to track whatever information. But I want to go through pages and templates. This is the core of what's presented to a user. And we're going to look at a contact page that's part of that default Bootstrap template. So Bootstrap is a CSS framework, and so we can go to localhost and look at this contact form. It's generated in WaSQL. We have some static text, we have some fields, and we have a send or a submit button there. And let's look at how this page was created. So back to this tab for the admin. I go to Pages and then down to Contact. And this is how that page was created. We have a default view and a couple of divs here, and we have some static. Please use this form. Please use the form of this page. And we can see that static content is here, and then the main part of the form is getting populated from the database contact form here. So we have different sections of this page. There's a body, a controller, and there are functions, CSS style sheet, and JavaScript functions. So those 5 things make up a page. The body section is, this looks like HTML. It is HTML. This is what is going to be seen by the in the browser. So part of that static content, part of it's dynamic content, but this is what is being seen. The controller is a little different. This is PHP, and it is determining what, not the content that's being seen, but which views are being displayed. In the body here we have a default view. We can have multiple views on a page, and the the controller would turn the different views on and off. So here it's turning a view called Thank You on. And so a controller can set views. It can also call different functions. So here it's checking if the contact form database table doesn't exist. That's what this exclamation point here is saying. If this doesn't exist, then call this function to create the table. That brings us to our third point down here. It's calling this function to create contact table. So here's the PHP code for creating that table. Also, so functions can be called from the controller. They can also be called from the body. This is the contact form, and that was this first function, contact form, which would show that form on the page. Now, this looks a little bit complicated. It can all be auto-generated. So we can start out as beginners just using the auto create functions, and we'll go through those in later videos. So on a page, okay, we've talked about localhost. There's some documentation. We can do tables, pages, and templates there. And then pages here, the body is the front end. What's seen, it's HTML. We can have named views, some of which are shown, some are hidden. And then there's stubs for dynamic content. A controller is PHP, and it is determining which views get shown. It can also call various functions. And then the functions can be for database related functions, like we're going to do things in a database, or we could display so the functions could also return the dynamic HTML content. Okay, let's go talk about templates now. So this page is using the main template. It could be use main or blank. Those are the two that are defined. And then under template, we can come see it here. So a template can be used by multiple pages, and all of the pages that use this template, this main template, would get all of the functions and all of the HTML that is included on the template. So these are things that we would typically see in the body. These are things we would typically see on a website. We've got a doc type, a language, a char set. We've got the title, which comes dynamically from a template function down here. There'd be a template main or a template meta title that would return what the name of the page is. Lots of these other tags are going to look familiar. Here we have meta name, description, and keywords, which the web crawlers would like as they index the page. So even though the pages live in a database, they're still going to be crawlable, so you can do some search engine optimization there. Your pages can be found. And then down here, it is bringing in this Bootstrap CSS file. So Bootstrap, I mentioned, is just a framework. You could include whatever framework, but because it's linked here, all of the pages that use this template have that CSS framework available. I don't have to do that on each page. It's done once in the template. So other things with a template. Here is the this body style. You see it including multiple pages. So this is the top navigation bar. Then we have a page for that's the body, and then we have a page for the footer. So even though those are defined as pages, multiple pages can be put on on a single web page. So that makes that a very powerful function there. I only have to define things once. And then controllers and functions have been put in the same view here. So functions could be, let's include jQuery. So now jQuery is available to all of the pages. We can set any global variables that we have that would want to just use on the page, so we don't have to pass that around or worry how it's getting passed around. Alright, so again, there's places for CSS style sheets here. We've shown other ways to include them, but this would be a third way. And then any JavaScript functions. Again, this would be defining them. We've included JavaScript functions here with jQuery, so there are other ways to do that. Alright, so that's let's look at the overview here, make sure we got everything. That templates, they're available to every page that uses the template. The body up here is going to be written in HTML and call out to PHP functions, but it's going to have our includes, the meta tags, and then the controller functions will be callable from any page that uses the template, and we can organize the page with multiple pages like a menu bar, a footer, etc. Alright, so that's the basics of the administrator the administrator console.